Well, see, when he said, well, they told me to put this. If you're going to next year budget and you're doing next year budget, you don't give a shit about lack. Yeah.
I can't laugh because I did that too. Out of my head. I was gonna laugh.
Thursday, but I'll be working with you.
You hear me?
It's time.
That's the water if you're thirsty.
Thank you. You
I
ready?
hope not, but I'm gonna be working.
All right, let's do it.
I'll get with you on that.
Welcome, everyone. We will now call our regular meeting into session. At this time, we'll stand and have Commissioner Nash do our invocation and pledge.
Dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for the opportunity to come together, do county business, look out for the taxpayers of Columbia County. And as we go through this pandemic, please put your hands on all the families that need your help and guidance. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Staff, any additions or deletions to our agenda?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
on item number, let me get to it here. Under Mr. Foreman, under the go-kart, or golf cart
Yes, sir.
section, I had that, Mr. Foreman, I had that section between Plantation and Stephen Foster. There are 4 dirt roads in there. They want that to be included within that, within this resolution.
The 4 roads that are south of Stephen
Yes, sir.
Foster, but not the ones that are within the plantation itself. That's all private property. So
Yeah, no, just the county road that
the
have.
county roads are out
Yeah.
there.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
when we get to that point, sir, we'll go through that during the hearing, but that's something you could certainly seek to amend.
Okay.
Chair, I've got 3 additions that we'd like to add. These are all time sensitive as a reason for the addition. Swanee River Economic Council, this is the additional SHIP funds. In the last meeting, we approved the agreement with the state, but this is a sub-recipient agreement between us and the council. Swanee River Water Management District, we have the amendment for Rum Island. This is extending our grant so we can close out the grant on Rum Island. And the town of Fort White, the traffic signal maintenance agreement. With school getting started, we need to go down and do some work on their traffic signals. And basically what we want to do, they're going to give us the DOT funding that they were receiving, and then our guys will go take care of their traffic signals. So those are the three items that we have for additions. I also wanted to point out we have two typographical errors in the consent. Everything in the agenda package itself was correct, but we do want to fix the consent agenda. On item number 6, the name is spelled L-E-S-H-A. It should be L-A-S-H-E-A. And on consent item number 7, it states the property is 1.5 acres and it is actually 2 acres. So we just want to reflect those corrections so that when the consent is reprinted and with the minutes, we'll have those corrections on there.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I have something I want to add.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rocky.
I want to, let's talk about playground equipment, replacement of playground equipment. Let's have a discussion about it.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve this as agenda?
So move.
I got a motion by Commissioner Ford.
Second.
I got a second by Commissioner Murphy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That passes. Mr. Dix, you are the first on our agenda tonight, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. We live in a society of hatred and bitterness and anger, and our board of directors for Columbia County Farm Bureau decided to do something about that. So we commissioned a local photographer, Ray Carpenter Photography, to prepare a video that highlights the beauty of our county and the people. There's 3 things I would like for you to pay close attention in this video. The first of all is the statistical data that talks about agriculture and the impact it has on our county. The second is the beauty of our county. This video highlights some of the most beautiful scenes that you'll see in our county, second to our springs. And the third is the people that are involved in this are not actors. These people are your friends and neighbors. So I'd ask that you view the video, and we're trying to promote a positive image for our county in more than one way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Columbia County, the gateway to Florida. Home to over 71,000 residents, this small North Florida county has deep roots in agriculture, with approximately 945 farms covering more than 101,000 acres and producing more than 17 million pounds of produce and harvesting over 26,000 cattle every year. It's hard to believe that with an average farm size of just 107 acres, that the approximate market value of products sold annually is approximately $108 million. The total estimated number of jobs in Columbia County is just over 30,000, and the estimated total number of agriculture or agribusiness-related employment in Columbia County is just over 6,000, accounting for more than 20% of county employment. We rank extremely high in the state of Florida, being one of the top livestock, poultry, and hay producers in the state, and we produce over 17 million pounds of peanuts annually. Columbia County might be small, but the economic effects of agriculture in our community are huge. The Columbia County Farm Bureau wants to thank all of our hardworking and dedicated farmers, ranchers, gardeners, processors, and retail outlets. Our farmers work hard from the early morning hours till after the sun goes down to bring food from our farms to your table. We're committed to you and your family, and we'll be here for you from this generation to the next. We took some time to visit our local farms to hear firsthand the importance of agriculture in Columbia County. Here's what they had to say.
I'm Mark Crow. I work for the Florida Division of Forestry for a little over 31 years. I've retired now, and I do a little forestry consulting work in this area, helping out my friends and my neighbors. Growing little pine trees is a really big part of what the economics of this area is. Columbia County is a really important area of the state for growing trees, and the site prep that we do to get areas ready to plant trees, growing the trees, and then harvesting the trees and taking them to the mills is very, very important for this area. The Columbia County Farm Bureau and the Florida Forestry Association are big helpers to landowners in this area with legislation for helping with clean water and clean air that the trees provide. So the economics for our part of the state and Columbia County is paramount with the timber that we grow here.
Okay, my name's Charlie Crawford. I moved to Columbia County in about 1968, worked a public job and farmed, raised cattle and so on for about 10 years, and then I dropped the public aspect of it and just went strictly to cattle and grass and that sort of thing. We raised, several hundred head of cows, and we got about 500 acres here that we raise grass on. Trying to be a viable part of the community other than just living. I feel that it's important to belong to organizations like Columbia County Farm Bureau and the Columbia County Cattlemen and just stuff like that, just to let the public know what agriculture is actually worth. People in the county can drive up and down the road to see it, but they don't really know what it does unless somebody opens their mouth and tells them. And we try to put it out there. Columbia County Farm Bureau supports all aspects of agriculture, not just cattle. They support anything that's considered agricultural, and everything.
I'm Carl Allison. I'm a farmer here in Columbia County. My family has been in this county for 5 generations. My great-grandfather purchased the farm we use now in 1914. I've been a member of the Columbia County Farm Bureau for over 20 years, and they've been very supportive and helpful, and we have all of our farm insurance through them also. Our hay business has been going on for about 20 years, and we bale about 750 acres of hay every year. We do mostly hay for horses, small square bales. We do also some rolls, mostly cow rolls. It's Bermuda grass hay, and the difference between the horse hay and the cow hay is more of a quality issue. If the hay is good quality, we try to put it in a square bale, and we supply feed stores throughout Florida. So we have about 10 employees and probably have about 15 or 20 tractors or automated equipment for doing the hay. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Brian Cruz, a local farmer in Columbia County. Columbia County Farm Bureau member for over 25 years. Just give you a little history of how I began farming. Was out of high school. I began growing vegetables and wound up getting involved in tobacco production and grew tobacco for years. And in the mid-2000s, we had a tobacco buyout program, which kind of diversified our farm more into wildflowers. That become kind of a little niche that we've held on to, and we sell those to the state of Florida, which you may have seen around Columbia County, in the state of Florida also. I'd like to introduce my son Turner, which is a recent graduate of Columbia County High School 2020. He's been doing some research projects with the school system on some new technologies and new varieties of corn, which is kind of, different for me, but the technology side of it, I would say. And he's going to pursue a degree with Payback up in Georgia in crop production. So hopefully he can graduate from there and come back here and bring some technology back home to where something different, can be looked at around this area.
My name is Turner Cruz. I'm from Lake City, Florida, and I'm a 2020 graduate of Columbia High School. This year, I plan on pursuing a degree in agribusiness and crop production up at ABAC in Tifton, and then coming back here and doing what I love to do whenever I get back. This year, we did some test plots and corn research trials up at the school through IFAS, and I'd like to thank our ag teacher, Mr. John Cole, and Jay Capasso with the Columbia County Extension Office for all their support. And we'll have some results here shortly, but when I get back from college, I'm gonna come back and pretty much do, pursue a life in agriculture and see where that takes me.
Hi, I'm Katrina Mosley of TK Mosley Farms. My husband Troy and I have been members of Columbia County Farm Bureau for about the last 10 years. I am also the Young Farmers and Ranchers Committee Chair, and we were on the State Young Farmer and Rancher Committee a couple years ago. We own a beef cattle operation that we've had for about the last 4 years. We started off with a couple beef cattle babies that were bottle fed, and now we've turned into a herd of about 200. We sell most of our cattle to the 2 livestock markets here in town, and cattle is actually a very large commodity in our county. Columbia County is within the top 20 counties of the state for cattle production, and there's over 26,000 cattle in this county, so it's probably the top agricultural commodity, even over most of our crops. We hope to maintain a presence in the agricultural community, especially as a young first-generation farming couple. And we also hope that we're able to pass this down to our children, as we have twin 4-year-old girls. So we hope this is something that they will be able to maintain and continue with for years down the road.
Hi, I'm Haley. And I'm Cindy from Fifth Generation Farms. We are a farm-to-table market offering meat, produce, southern specialties, and prepared foods. Our goal is to provide a marketplace for family farms to showcase and sell their products locally.
One of those featured products is our very own North Florida Natural Black Angus that is pasture raised right here in Columbia County on our 5th generation family farm.
We hope you come see us soon and support your local farmers.
Bye-bye.
We're the state's largest nonprofit general agriculture organization. We're more than 140,000 member families strong in the state of Florida. Through a grassroots structure, we ensure the future of family farms, locally grown food, and rural land.
Yes, ma'am. Let's start one more time.
Are we ready?
Fifth Generation Farms.
Membership in the Florida Farm Bureau means that you're a part of a growing community of families who support agriculture in our state. You don't even have to be a farmer to be a member of Farm Bureau. Farm Bureau works for us all.
All right, Mr. Dix.
Thank you for that. Board? Comments, questions?
Hope you enjoyed the video. It's a little different than what you're usually set up to seeing, but we're thankful that you allowed us to play the video for you this evening.
Mr. Dix, I'm old enough to remember back long years ago, the opening of school was coordinated with farming season.
That's correct.
School was out when the farming season started, and you didn't go back to school until farming season was over with.
That's correct.
You all remember those days?
I do.
Yes, sir.
I
And they
remember
played
them well.
a very important role in the growth of Columbia County, farming have.
I think most of us that grew up in Columbia County know all about the tobacco days and cropping tobacco and watermelons. I was talking to Commissioner Witt Tuesday about it. talking about who all we crop tobacco for when it's coming up and all. So, yeah, agriculture is a very big part of this community. And I'm still a cattle farmer myself.
I'm glad I don't have to crop tobacco anymore. I'll say that.
I go to the chiropractor once a month because I did crop tobacco.
Thank you, sir.
Some of the funnest days I had was in a tobacco field as a kid growing up.
Yeah, I could tell some stories.
Yeah, I can
I
too.
could too. I appreciate that. That was very inspiring to me. Appreciate it.
Well, we tried to create a quality product that we'd all could be proud of. At any viewing, we intend to show this video as many places as we can or allowed to, and we just want a quality product. We think we've got it. We think we've got something.
I think y'all done a great job.
I believe you do.
Represents us well.
Good video. You just left out the 2 chicken farmers down here on this end of the table.
We can't get everything. But actually, the reason that we didn't have more stuff was because of coronavirus. The guy was putting it together. We were limited as to what we could do, so we kind of left out certain segments that we would normally put in there.
It's just a joke. I appreciate what you do. Thank you a lot.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next up, we have Mr. Kraus, public hearings.
Thank you very much. As you know, David, do you have a clicker? We had our first public hearing a few months back on the CDBG grant and proceeded based on the public comment from there and from the Citizens Advisory Task Force to work on developing a grant. And so we're here today to have the second public hearing, which will actually tell you what we would like to apply for and get public comment and your comments and hopefully approval to proceed with applying for the CDBG grant. I have with me today Corbett Allday, who is from Guardian Resource Management, who does a lot of our work advising us on the CDBG program.
Thank you, David. Thank you, commissioners and citizens. Corbett Allday with Guardian Community Resource Management, offices Dade City for the record. Thank you for having us here once again. This is a second public hearing for the Community Development Block Grant Program. The Community Development Block Grant Program is, as you recall, is focused on benefit to low to moderate income persons. And there are several options for each you can pursue under that program. And tonight we're recommending a housing application. We've had a first public hearing. We discussed the different types of grants that were available. We've decided on drafting and recommending a housing application. And tonight we're having our second public hearing is a review of the application. Housing rehabilitation is benefit is public standard is LMI homes. LMI owner occupied homes are the beneficiaries of the funds. It's benefits, it's repairs, health and safety and code repairs are the benefits. Green rehabilitation standards are also eligible to make the house more energy efficient. We are also adopting a housing assistance plan that we're recommending to you that prioritizes the elderly, veterans, the disabled, and we're also recommending a leverage of $50,000 of local funds for points. The service area for the project will be the entire unincorporated county. So anyone from anywhere in the unincorporated county can apply. That has a home, they own it, and they live in it. Okay. Funds will be for rehabilitation of owner-occupied deteriorated homes of LMI families. Pardon me. A minimum of 11 houses must be addressed, and a minimum of 3 of them must be low income, and the minimum of 2 must be very low income. The budget, in summary, $615,500 for housing rehab in the grant, $22,000 for temporary relocation for those who need to move out of their house while their house is being repaired, and administration, which includes the housing building specialist who will be writing up, inspecting the houses, and writing them up and bidding them out. And then leverage from the county of $50,000, making the total project of $800,000. Just to give you an idea of where we go from here, the application is due October 5th. We should have a site visit in November or December. January, February, estimated awards. March, April, probably a fully executed award by then. And then release of funds after the environmental review in August, September. July to December of 2021, intake of applications, and then constructing the project thereafter. And that is the end of our presentation. And with that, I'm here for questions from the public or from the council.
Okay, I will now open the public hearing. Anybody here to speak on this matter? Not seeing any, I declare the public hearing closed. Wishes of the board.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we authorize Mr. Kraus to continue with the application for the Community Development Block Grant.
Motion by Commissioner Williams, a second by Commissioner Nash. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Brandon.
Good, Commissioners, Brandon Stubbs, Community Development Coordinator. A few items for you this evening. The first one is Z0591 or Ordinance 2020-09. It's a request by Audrey Bullard as the managing member of Audrey Bullard LLC, the owner, to amend the official zoning atlas of the land development regulations from residential single-family 1 to residential office for tax parcel numbers 08463-000 and 08463-001. This is in District 5, Mr. Tim Murphy's district. Planning and Zoning Board held a public hearing on July 25th, 2020, and voted to recommend approval. If the board has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them at this time, or I'll turn it over to the chair.
Okay, I now declare this public hearing open. Anybody to speak on this matter? Not seeing any, I declare the public hearing closed. Board?
I make a motion to approve Z0591, ordinance number 2020-09.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Murphy, a second by Commissioner Williams. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries.
The next two items I have for you are related. The first one is a land use change and then a corresponding proposed zoning change. The first one is CPA 0234, Ordinance 2020-10. It's a request by Robert F. Jordan to amend the future land use map of the comprehensive plan from commercial to residential high density for tax parcel number 08423-000 and a portion of 08423-001. This is also Commissioner Tim Murphy's district, and the Planning and Zoning Board held a public hearing on July 25th, 2020. I recommend approval, and there was no one to speak in opposition. If the board wants, I could go to the next one and present these at the same time since they are related. The corresponding application is Z0592. It's ordinance 2020-11 by Mr. Robert F. Jordan to amend the official zoning atlas of the land development regulations from commercial intensive to residential multifamily 2 or RMF2 for the same property. And again, this is Commissioner Tim Murphy's district, and the Planning and Zoning Board held a public hearing on July 25th, 2020, and recommended approval, and no members of the public spoke in opposition to this amendment either.
Okay, I will now declare the public hearing open on both of these. Anybody to speak on either one of these? All right, not seeing any, I declare the public hearing closed. Board?
I make a motion to approve CPA 0234, ordinance number 2020-10.
Okay, let's do them separate. I have a motion by Commissioner Murphy.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Williams. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries.
I also make a recommendation of motion of Z0592 ordinance number 2020-11.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Williams.
Second.
I'm sorry. I had a motion by Commissioner Murphy. I had a second by Commissioner Williams. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. That carries.
We do kind of resemble.
The last item I have for you is the CPA 2002 ordinance 2020-18. As you may recall, last month I came and presented the proposed ear-based amendments to the board through a discussion item. The Planning and Zoning Board did hear this on the July 25th, 2020 P&Z meeting and voted to recommend approval to the Board of County Commission. As you may recall, June 20th of 2019, the board adopted the evaluation and appraisal report. These amendments are the actual amendments based upon that report. These amendments are limited to statutory changes, date changes, citation changes, terminology and technical changes, and updates to data and supporting maps. It does not include new objectives, goals, policies. So it's just requirements to meet certain statutory requirements or update language to reflect new terminology and stuff. Again, P&Z held a public hearing. No members of the public spoke for or against. And a recommendation from staff is to adopt CPA 2001 ordinance 2020-18 and authorize county staff to transmit to DEO and other state agencies.
Okay, I now declare this public hearing open. Anybody to speak on this matter? Not seeing anybody, I declare the public hearing closed. Board.
I'll make a motion that we approve CPA 2001 ordinance 2020-18.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ford and a second by Commissioner Nash. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries.
And I'd just like to add that this will go through the state and it will come back before this board for final adoption.
Okay, thank you, Brandon. Counselor, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This evening, we have adoption hearing on ordinance number 2020-20, an ordinance of the Board of County Commissioners of Columbia County, Florida, amending Chapter 114, Article 1 of the County Code of Ordinances to add to the list of county roads upon which operation of golf carts is permitted and providing an effective date. In furtherance of the comments Commissioner Williams made at the outset of the meeting, I did go review the map just south of Stephen Foster. Commissioner, if you can confirm that the roads in question are Northwest Plantation Terrace, Northwest Cottonfield Lane, Northwest Dreamer Lane, and Northwest Sleepy Court.
Yes, sir.
So, Commissioners, as you hear any comments that might be made this evening, and if there's any comment during the public hearing, I'd like to make note that Commissioner Williams is likely to ask to amend in those roads.
Okay. I now declare the public hearing open. Anybody to speak on this matter? Not seeing anybody, I declare the public hearing closed. Board.
I make you.
Second.
The motion needs to be made with Commissioner Williams' amendments.
Yeah. Yes. For the benefit of the commissioners, the roads in question are, again, Northwest Plantation Terrace, Northwest Cottonfield Lane, Northwest Dreamer Lane, and Northwest Sleepy Court.
Okay, I make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2020-20 with the amended roads added.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Nash, second by Commissioner Ford. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries.
Thank you.
I now need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So move.
Second.
All right, motion by Commissioner Williams, second by Commissioner Nash. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Now need a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Williams,
Second.
second by Commissioner Ford. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Counselor, you're still up.
Commissioners, this probably feels like a long time coming, but we have Resolution 2020-R-27 relating to park and community center rules and regulations. The draft resolution that you have had for review and that's on the agenda incorporates the input of the Fort White community from both workshops. It also incorporates input from Clint Pittman in his capacity as Parks and Landscape Director. It also includes input from a nice workshop that Mr. Mario Kopic helped us put together with the community center directors and various representatives of community center boards. I believe these rules comport with the previous desires of the board. And this evening, we're looking to go ahead and get this adopted. I would note that staff needs this resolution to be in place prior to the opening of Rum Island Park.
All right. I do have one public comment card. Mr. Looper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have one question here about item 4CB. Says the board determines that a reasonable permit fee for regular commercial uses of any park is $1,500. I thought that was supposed to be reduced. That appears to be the highest charge in the state of Florida. I might recall at the discussion, it was reduced. And if it was reduced, I'd like to know why it was just not left blank rather than put the $1,500 in there.
It was discussed, Mr. Looker, about reducing. I talked to 3 of the outfitters that work at Rum Island, and being we're limiting this to a number of 4, it was 4. They thought that was a reasonable rate, and they agreed to that. That's what it should be. So that's why we left it at that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Looker. Board?
One change. Mr. Foreman, it's on the rules and regulations. What did we leave that hour 2 of closing
For which type of facility, sir?
for recreation areas?
For recreation areas, if it's a lighted ball court or a lighted tennis court, as long as the lights stay on, but in no event, I think Clint had agreed no later than 11 p.m. Unless you're under a use agreement, then you can go to midnight. So if you have a use agreement with the community center, those can go to midnight. But if it's just a regular night and you don't have a special use agreement, it's going to stop at 11 or when the lights turn out.
I sort of kind of got a problem with that. There's not any given weekend or night you can drive out to Winfield at 3 o'clock in the morning. You got 15, 20 youngins out there playing basketball in both of the courts.
Yes, sir.
So if I adopt this vote, this ordinance, that they can't do that.
That's correct, sir.
I can't support that.
Understood. I will say, Commissioner, we talked to the community center directors about that exact question. And they did want flexibility, but they had expressed flexibility to make it close earlier. If you'd like to exclude Winfield or write something in here for Winfield or leave that out, I will say that West Side and Richardson, there were community centers that did express interest in having a line. They wanted to have a line that they couldn't cross. But I certainly hear what you're saying, and I think that's something we were very sensitive to when we had that workshop, is, you know, the uses that you're actually seeing of your community center. The board, and I think I was speaking for you guys when you asked me to go speak to them, the board doesn't want to step on your toes. And so there's a lot of latitude in here still for the community centers. If you want to have an exclusion to allow, because Winfield's different because it doesn't have a lot of people living real close to it, where I think places like Lulu were concerned and West Side was concerned.
I could see where a community center is in where there's a lot of people live.
Yes, sir.
Like Winfield said, there's just 2 houses that are affected. Well, one, especially in where the basketball courts are, they are setting out in the pines out there away from the residential area.
Mr. Chair, this is a resolution of the board, and just as you amended the ordinance, you can amend this. If you would like to have an exclusion for Winfield, it's as simple as making the motion that way. Because I certainly, Winfield is different in that there's nothing around it. I think Springfield might be like that too.
Yeah. Nobody around Winfield but the sheriff.
But again, this is the board's resolution, so however you'd like to amend it or change it, it's.
Well, I would like to amend, Mr. Chair, this resolution to up Winfield, not any of my other community centers, just Winfield, with the time restriction. I'd rather for them to be playing basketball at 1 o'clock in the morning or be getting in trouble somewhere else.
Is the outdoor sports your only concern?
Big pardon?
Is the outdoor sports your only concern? Or do you need the building to stay open later? Because I would be in favor of amending, outdoor sports at all of them, if that's what they're doing.
Well, and the only reason I would caution you about that, Mr. Chair, is Clint had expressed some concerns about how late the lights stay on and who has the ability to turn the lights on. There are certain facilities where you go turn the lights on yourself. And so what was pointed out is if you don't have a bright line that says in no event later than 11 p.m., and Winfield's different because it's not going to bother anybody, but they can be out there till 3 o'clock in the morning just turning the lights back on. And again, we can strike the whole thing and just leave it to the community centers to decide.
I'll tell you what, I'll second Commissioner Williams' motion to amend it for Winfield.
Okay, and Commissioner Williams, you are asking to, and I think the question that the chair had asked, you're asking to exclude Winfield from that entire section or just from the part about lighted facilities?
Well, and on the community center itself, what is the hour that it should shut down? Community center is shut down?
Midnight.
Oh, that's great. I'm fine.
Yes, sir. So if I could, I'll read this hours of operation paragraph. It's subsection C, community centers, and subsection 1, general public access to outdoor facilities. So that's just a softball field that's just lit by by the sun, sunrise to sunset for all those. Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with everything else.
Okay.
So we're just excluding the outdoor facilities at Winfield.
And I want to make sure, and then the next part is access to lighted outdoor facilities without a separate rental or use agreement. So again, this is somebody who doesn't have a special agreement with the community center, not later than 11. You want to exclude Winfield from that.
I have one question.
Yes,
The
sir.
lights. Now at Winfield, you said the lights are separate than the ball fields, or do they not have ball fields?
No. At night, you can mash the button and cut the lights on. They'll run for 30 minutes and cut off.
Okay.
And then that eliminates someone from cutting the lights on and leave, and the lights burn all night. They cuts off every 30 minutes. And if you want to continue to play, you just mash the button and you play for another 30 minutes.
Okay. That answers my question.
And-
I know it, like it down Fort White, you have to turn all the lights on to turn the lights on.
Yes, sir.
No.
So Commissioner, you'd like to exclude Winfield from the operation of subsection 2 then, is what it sounds
Yes,
like
sir.
to me. You're okay with the community center itself closing at midnight?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What I would recommend as language there is a subsection under 2 that says Winfield Community Center is excluded from this part. That's all it's going to say.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, just to clarify, Commissioner, you did make the motion to approve this with that amendment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I have a second on the table. So is there any more discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. The first item that we have for discussion tonight is the space needs for a driving class in Lake City for a third-party testing site. And Tax Collector Ronnie Brandon is here to discuss that with you this evening.
Good evening. I want to thank you for having me here tonight. If you hear any coughing or throat clearing, it's because I've said something wrong, and these girls right here are trying to tell me to hush. Okay? Yeah, thank you for having us here tonight. I appreciate it. As you know, we're not doing driving skill tests any longer at the courthouse because of the 6-foot distancing rule primarily. We can't stay 6 foot apart in the front seat of a car. So we've had to look for other ways to get those tests done. We heard about All Florida Safety Institute. I checked them out with some neighboring counties. I talked to some of their folks, and they proved to be a qualified company that's doing a lot of work around here. They just don't have anything in Columbia County. Now we do, out of the office, we've done around 1,200 driving tests a year out of my office over the last 4 years. So there's a need to do driving tests. And if you haven't ever talked to a mama with a 16-year-old child, you'll understand how important that is to get those driving records done. She needs somebody to run errands for her, things like that, you know. So I've got Miss Stacy Griffiths here. She's sitting next to Miss Miss Duckett right there, and she's going to speak to you about her company and tell you exactly what she could do for us. I will tell you that one of the things that her company has agreed to do are medicals and what they call 3 and 3 testing. Medicals are when a doctor calls in and says, this my patient, Mr. Murphy, he can't drive. So they send a letter to him and say, go get a medical. What a medical is 3 driving tests back to back over the same course you give to everybody else. And if those are passed, then he's awarded a driving privilege. The 3 and 3 tests, that's a little different. If you have 3 crashes within 3 months, then you're suspended for a 3 and 3. And you go get tested under those circumstances if you want to get your driving privilege back. All Florida Safety has agreed to perform those tests for our citizens at no cost to the citizen, to my office, or the county. They'll do it for free, and they'll send in the paperwork to us, and if they've all passed, then we can reissue those folks their driving privilege. So it's a pretty good deal for this county, considering what we're in right now under this COVID stuff. And as you know, we're doing our best to get back open. Everybody wants to be shoulder to shoulder inside. We're trying to get there if we can get the proper protections. They're in the process of looking at that now. And as soon as I get those installed where I can protect my staff, we'll open up and let everybody mix and mingle out there and have a good old time and wait at that time. Anyway, that's what I'm here to do, to introduce Miss Stacy. What's your last name?
Rick,
Griffiths.
Got one question.
Yes, sir.
I think some time back, you told us about the problem you were having with people other than Columbia Countyans coming in wanting to do their tests. If we go this route, how do we deal with them?
We've pretty much
make sure that Columbia County have the space and the opportunity to serve, go first to get their driver's license.
We did have issues with that. Those are pretty much resolved themselves.
Okay.
I went out to some local counties, Swanee County, for instance. They're doing road skill tests by appointments only, and they do it for Swanee, Hamilton, and Madison County. She has agreements to handle those counties. Now, the test they're giving now is a reduced, let me find my notes here. It's a remote or extended skill test that the state has allowed to happen. They're operating under those conditions. That involves going outside to a parking area somewhere, putting somebody outside the car with a walkie-talkie and instructing the driver on what to do. There's 5 skills they have to perform under those conditions. And if they do those correctly, then they can be issued. We don't have a parking lot to do that in, and we barely got a parking lot to park people in.
I know that's right.
We got, yeah, and that ain't gonna change. We open the doors back up, we're gonna have to find somewhere, all the people out front parking there now are staff of various offices. They're gonna have to leave and leave it what we do have for the public. Nevertheless, these other counties are doing that particular kind of testing because they have the facility to do it. If I had a parking area, I'm not sure I'd want to do it anyway, because I'd have to take 2 or 3 people out of the office now and send them out there for how many, 4 hours a day? And somebody's gonna be mad because we're not there all day. That would leave people in the office, be short in the office to get the returns done that we're getting in now. We're still doing a good business. Thank you very much for the drive-through. It's not as much as it used to be, but we are getting it done. Tonight, this is strictly about the driving tests. And it would be up to all Florida if they want to accept people from other counties, and they will. They don't have a problem with that because they're taking our counties right now, our residents right now over in Stark or in Gainesville. But people don't want to drive over there. Now, the charges for this, the minimum charge on their test is $50. They get passed, they come back to the county, we issue the license, it's a $6.25 fee for the issuance. So the upcharge is a $50 charge, but they can do it locally. And that's the best deal we can do at this time. I don't know when we'll get back to doing driving tests. Even if we open the office up for everybody to come in again, we still, there ain't 6 feet between the driving wheel and the passenger seat. So I don't, unless the governor, that's, you know, if the governor says we don't have to observe that anymore, then we'd be back in business with that. But I don't know when that's going to happen.
Okay.
Nobody does.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions, please?
I'm good.
Mr. Swisher, you got anything? Yes, sir. Okay. I'll introduce Ms. Stacy to you now, let her explain her program for you.
First question I got for you, how do you maintain the 6 foot?
Well, we honestly don't, but we do let everyone know that. All of our vehicles, and I have a little kind of flyer I'm going to hand you. This is just kind of what we have. That we have our own vehicles that have a secondary brake in them that have all the bells and whistles on them also. Whereas your clerks currently, when they get in a vehicle with someone and they pull out in front of a semi on the highway, they have no way to stop, and your clerks are also at a liability, which kind of reduces with what we have. We do disinfect the vehicle in between each student, and we are wearing masks. So depending on our location, we do not allow families to bring all 10 of their family members and wait in a waiting room. We usually just register the student, they're ready to go, and we get them straight in the car.
So basically the difference is they drive your car.
They can now, if that's a cost issue or their vehicle doesn't pass a safety inspection or they don't have a current insurance or anything like that, we'll put them in our car for free. They can also bring their car if it's more cost effective for the student. And then we do a safety inspection on the vehicle.
So there's a different price for driving your car versus
$20,
driving
there's
their own.
$20 more. A lot of students don't have vehicles. They want to do that. We also, Mr. Brandon didn't share, we do have a nonprofit side where we offer scholarships for children that can't afford it. We're also working with vocational rehab. We provide those type of testing for free. We've offered to the county the free medical and the 3-and-3. We are Florida's largest approved DMV third party. Previously, you couldn't do the medicals and the 3-and-3s. They've allowed us during COVID to do that type of testing. Our testing, your clerks here in the county, they do paper testing. Everything's on paper. We have DMV approved courses, routes. Our tests are on a tablet. We are GPS monitored. It keeps up with the student's speed and everything like that. It kind of reduces human error also, as far as pass and fail, that sort of thing. And it's uploaded to the DMV instantaneously. So I can still have the student in the car at the end of the exam, give them their results, and Ronnie's office will already have the results right there. Our ultimate goal is to come into the community, and nowadays there's not a lot of driver's ed programs. The sheriff's department sometimes is just, overmanned and things. We would really like to offer a more robust program to your county in general. I'm the director of county services and educational services. I want to get with your school district, see if we can provide, embellish, even if they have a driver's ed program, that sort of thing. Our ultimate goal is to make Columbia County roads safer. There isn't a lot of, you can tell as soon as you get in the vehicle with a student, if they've been behind the wheel for 50 hours with a parent, a lot of them haven't been behind the wheel. They have, they need some instruction, that sort of thing. We'd love to do a team driving challenge with the sheriff's department, just make Columbia County roads safer.
What are you looking for from the county to help in this endeavor?
Well, what we've done with other counties is we've actually tried to find out if you have any space that's available. I did email the county manager, the assistant county manager, and requested any possible space that you guys may have. We're interested. It's a wonderful relationship when we get it with the tax collector's office, because what we do is then as soon as they finish, we send in the pass sheet. Your county still retains that $625 for the license, but it takes the whole time of your staff having to perform the road testing. And it also can bring additional revenue if you guys do decide to. We do get people from Suwannee County and other counties that will be testing with us.
Ben, do we have any available space that we can assist them with this program?
Sir, we need to look and see exactly what she needs, but we just wanted to make sure that y'all were okay with us looking at space. If you're okay with it, then we'll look. We've talked about a possibility at the room. What I was told was they just need the size of the closet.
That's what I'm requesting, a closet.
And what we're thinking is we may have some space at the West Side Library that they can store their materials and work out the West Side Library.
So Ben, if I'm reading this right, there's no action you want tonight other than the consensus of the board to move ahead with looking for space for them.
Sorry?
There's no action that you want, that required of the board tonight other than our consensus to let you move forward to look for space for them.
Yes, the consensus, because once we find a space, I'm sure our attorney's gonna want to put some language together, some agreement to kind of indemnify the county.
Okay, board?
I have no problem with it at all.
Good. I'm good.
I think you got your consensus.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Brandon.
Okay, Chair, Commissioners, the next item that we have is a COPCN for Century Ambulance. This is for their transport side of their business. Their other COPCN runs in line with their contract. So they've asked us to approve a new COPCN. So we're asking you to approve 2020 R-26 renewing of Century's COPCN.
Board.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Williams, a second by Commissioner Nash. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, that carries.
Our next item that we have is a wastewater leak adjustment policy, and it says wastewater. It's a water leak, water and wastewater leak adjustment policy. It came to our attention that we did not have a policy, and it's not written into our ordinance how we adjust if someone has a leak. We did have a customer that had a large leak. They found out they had a leak and they have asked for an adjustment. We looked at several different policies from different counties and cities, and we decided that the policy that the city uses was a good policy, and so we kind of mirrored what the city of Lake City does. So we're asking the board to approve the water and wastewater leak adjustment policy.
Board.
Question. Being on that leak adjustment policy, do we take on consideration on which side of the meter the leak is on?
Yes, sir. If it's on our side, then it doesn't really show up, and we take care of it. This is after our meter to the building. Anything on that side is their responsibility, and it does spell that out in there. And we don't give them one every month. It's limited to how often they can get an adjustment. So they've got we tell them. When they come in this time, say we want an adjustment, look, you're gonna get an adjustment this time, but you don't get another one for a time period. So make sure that you're catching your leaks and taking care of your facility. And depending on if we can show that it was a leak, the water went through, but it didn't go through our sewer plant, then you get a bigger discount on the sewer, but we still have to charge something for the water. So the water adjustment's not as much as the sewer adjustment is.
Okay. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Ford. I have a second by Commissioner Nash. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. That carries.
The next item that we have is a miscellaneous roadways project number 2020-06. This includes Jacksonville Loop, Golf Avenue, Rowan Place, Olustee Avenue, Manning Court, Cider Terrace. The bid did come in under budget. B.E. Whitehurst and Son was low bidder at $467,660. We had two other bidders, Anderson, Columbia, and CA Boone. So we're recommending awarding the project to the low bidder, 2020-06, to VE Whitehurst and Son, in the amount of $467,660.
If I recall, if memory serves me right, this is the first time that they have won or even bidded on a contract in Columbia County. So, and there was a lot of money left on the table, and that's good.
Yes.
Where are they from?
Jacksonville?
Jacksonville.
Huh?
VE Whitehurst?
Jacksonville?
Yeah.
No?
No.
Well, that's where they were all
No, they're
from.
from Williston, down around Williston.
Where?
Yeah.
Williston?
Is it Whitehurst and Son?
Yeah.
VE Whitehurst and Son?
VE
Yeah,
Whitehurst and Sons.
Yeah, they're down around Williston.
I know they do a lot of work in Jacksonville.
Yeah, they do a lot of stuff. They done 441 out from Ellisville to the county line. For, yeah. But
So
yeah,
moved.
they're a quality company.
So move to
Okay,
award.
I have a motion by Commissioner Williams.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Murphy. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries.
The next item that we have, as we discussed during the budget process, we have had a hard time hiring building inspectors. We've talked to a few of them, and we've decided that we cannot hire someone for less than $60,000. So we're asking to adjust the minimum starting salaries for building inspectors to $60,000. And with the retirement of a current building inspector, we just can't wait. We have two building inspectors right now, and they're going as hard as they can at it. So we're asking to adjust the starting salary. This will cost us about $26,000 a year total in extra addition in the budget.
Board.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Nash, second by Commissioner Williams. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries.
Next item that we have is RFQ 2020-I. This is a design or retrofit for the county EOC. As you'll recall, this was a grant program the state put in place. We presented the top ranked firms to you. The first two top ranked firms we could not come to agreement with. They would not do the work for the grant amount. So we went to the third ranked firm, and they have confirmed that they can do all the work for the grant amount. So we're asking you to approve the contract with Schinkel Schultz Architect Firm.
Board.
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Williams.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ford. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries.
The next item that we have is the disaster and debris removal. If you'll recall, we approved ranking this back in May. This has taken us this long to negotiate the contract and get approval back from the state on this contract. So this has gone through all the vetting process. The state has approved it. So we're asking for the approval of the contract with Cersei's Environmental Services. Now, this is for the debris pickup. This isn't for the repair side. We're still working on the contract for the repair side.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Nash.
Second for question.
Second by Commissioner Williams. And discussion.
Ben, under this agreement, they're gonna be working under the guidelines set forth by FEMA.
Yes, sir.
Do this eliminate us from any liability on debris removal?
We think we've done the best we can to eliminate it. I'm not going to say 100%. We've jumped through every hoop we know how to keep from having to pay back any money in the future.
So we know what happens is we don't get the same inspector or HUD employee throughout the whole duration of the disaster. And one tells us to do it this way, and we get another one in, and they say, no, you can't do it this way. You got to do it this way unless you're not going to get paid for it, or you're going to have to pay back. And we just want to make sure that, with this company that we're hiring, that they eliminate as much of our liability as we possibly can.
Yes, sir. One of the points that made this company rank high in the proposals was that they have a full-time staff person that's what they do, is monitor grants and monitor the compliance with the grants. So hopefully, like you said, we'll eliminate that issue in future audits.
Good.
All right, anybody else?
Yeah, every year you're gonna have to get the state to approve this, or every year we're gonna send out bids for it, or how long is this bid for?
I think we were allowed to do, I can't remember if this was a 1 year or a 3 year, but, or if it has renewals in it. I would have to go back and look, but yes, well, I don't think we're going to have to get state approval again. We did this the first time so that we make sure that we're doing it right, because we've never done it like this before.
Yeah. So whether it's 1 or 3, you can just, it'll be a little quicker done?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks.
Right, have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries.
The next item that we have, this is just a little housekeeping. As you know, we received a grant of $12,508,654 from the federal government for the CARES Act. And these are the line items that you assigned. And so we're just putting this actually into our budget. So it's just a revenue coming in and expense going out. The net effect is 0 to the county. So we're asking to approve budget amendment 20-57.
So moved.
A motion by Commissioner Murphy.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ford. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries.
The next item that we have is a proposal from Kell Architects. As you'll recall, we have a continuing contract with Kell Architects. They, through a proposal, an RFP process about a year ago or so. So what we asked Danny Kell to do is to look at the jail. The priority list that the sheriff and sheriff staff gave us is the food service first, medical, laundry, then booking and warrants and administration. So what we're asking Mr. Kell to do is to go in, look at the current floor plan and design a new floor plan for us, not a detailed set of plans, just a floor plan that we can go out later and design the set of plans for the remodel of the jail. So we're asking to approve this proposal from Kell Partners Architects and Interiors in the amount of $10,000.
Board.
So moved.
I'll second.
A motion by Commissioner Williams, a second by Commissioner Ford. Any discussion?
Ben, is there a timeline on this? I didn't see no, or maybe I didn't catch it if there was, but I mean, but what time, when does he start and when do we expect his job to be completed?
As soon as we sign this, he'll be able to start. And then it just depends on how quickly he can meet with the sheriff's office, because he's going to have to go inside the jail, look at some things. So it just depends on how quickly he can meet with them and how quickly he can get their advice on what they're looking for in the remodel of these certain areas.
And our representative on the board side will be there in that meeting also, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Any more discussion? I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries.
Before we get into the change order for the Ajax Construction Management, I wanted to go through what we came up with as far as a total estimate of this jail project. So we started off when we were looking at this jail, looking at the similar jail pod as Putnam County. So Putnam County's jail was constructed in 2014 at the cost of $16.5 million. Ajax, when I had questioned Ajax, why is our jail so much more last year? They informed me, well, you've got some price escalators in here. And if you look at these price escalators, your jail is right in line with what Putnam County's is. So we went back and looked at the price escalators. Each year you see the little, so in 2015, it went up 5%, 16.6, and so on. To the point of 2020, that same jail to build in Putnam County would be $24,206,000. That was for 66,500 square feet. So that gives you a square foot price of $364 a square foot. Our jail pod is approximately 38,000 square feet, and at $364 a square foot, that puts it right at $14 million. We have to add an existing connection to the existing jail, and so we estimated that to be about $750,000. Basically, a hallway connecting the jail, the current jail, to the pod. The remodel that we were just talking about, Mr. Kell performing the floor plan for us, he gave me a cost of about $200 a square foot to do remodeling of this type. There's approximately 23,000 square feet in that area, so that would be $4.6 million. So what we're estimating between the remodel and the additional pod is approximately $19 million. In the change order, I just wanted to clarify, there's several items in here that whether you were just doing the site work as we're proposing in this change order, or whether you were doing the entire package, these costs would have to be absorbed anyway. So these are costs that you won't see again in the overall package, and there's approximately $295,000 worth of those costs. So what does this change order amend the contract? It is for the site work. The guaranteed maximum price is $2,172,881. They expect to be completed, substantially complete with the site work as of January of 2021, and that's when they would start construction on the actual building itself. So we've put this change order before you, and we're asking for approval of Ajax Construction Management Agreement, change order number 1, in the amount of $2,172,881. And if you have any questions, Ajax representatives are here in the audience this evening.
Board?
When I went over these figures with Ben and the inflated amount that he put his estimate in, to arrive at the estimated expense for the jail and the renovation of the old part of it, seemed reasonable with the inflated price of it. But it's one thing about it, when we approve this motion right here, we out in the water then. We're out in the water. So by that, I feel comfortable that staff have done their homework to give us an estimate of the cost of the jail, and by the decision the board made months ago, we're gonna save about $12 million, and more than that if you add the interest to it, which interest on what we was trying to do. First, we're gonna run up around $43 million to the taxpayers of Columbia County. This is a lot better, and we can pay it off with less interest and don't have that much in it. So I move to take staff recommendation.
I'll second that. I think this estimation is very accurate. We've done our homework on it. We've talked with several contractors, and I think our pricing is in line. And I think we can bring this project in under 20 million pretty easy.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Williams, a second by Commissioner Ford. I do have a comment. I was a lone vote for option 2 when this came before the board. And my reason for voting on option 2 was because that was a known figure. We knew what that figure was. It was a guaranteed maximum. And I had reservations about this because this was an unknown. And I told you then, if I hoped I was proven wrong, and I still hope this estimate comes in this low and we get this done this low, because I'll tell you when it happens that I was wrong.
A little off track, Ben, I met with you about 3 months ago about the maintenance of the jail, and I really want a maintenance program put in place, because if you don't, all this work we do on the front end is going to be right back in this mess 10 years from now. So what we're doing out there isn't working, and I would like for you maybe in a month to give us a report on how we're going to do a better job of maintaining the jail that we're going to sink $19 million into.
Well, one thing I'll tell you, Commissioner, is when all this started up and people were saying we weren't maintaining the jail, and I brought before you a program that I was recommending, we started it back in March. I made sure that there's an actual form that when they go around, they're changing the air conditioner filters, they're checking it, everything. They're filling this out, they're dating it, they're signing off on it when they do it. We've been doing that every month since March, and we're going to continue to do that. So I'll bring that before you. But an extra step that we've got to do is we've got to make sure that we're in partnership with the sheriff on maintaining the facility. And so what I mean by that is the sheriff, they have the inmates that are there. that are a built-in workforce. And they do currently, I've been out there. I know last time when Commissioner Ford and I were there, we saw them cleaning. They were constantly cleaning areas of the jail that the inmates were. And what we want to do is just take that a little step further and make sure that, basically every day that there's an inmate that has a paintbrush, that they're doing painting and they're touching things up and they're keeping the facility up instead of waiting till something gets so. Now there are inmates out there. So they're constantly trying to tear things up. And so our maintenance guy that we have assigned there every day, he's constantly fixing the things that they tear up. But what we need to make sure that we have with the sheriff's partnership, that they have inmates out there that are doing those day-to-day things to keep the building up, to keep it to where things don't start falling apart. And I believe that our sheriff would be willing to do that. We just want to make sure that we're all on the same page with that.
Okay.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the table. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I've got 3 additions I need to discuss with you.
That's right.
The first one is Swanee River Economic Council. Like I said, we approved an agreement with the state for this, but now we need to make sure that they have a sub-recipient agreement, and they can't start distributing these funds until they receive this back. That's the reason we wanted to add that, so they could start distributing these funds. So we're asking to approve a sub-grant agreement with Swanee River Economic Council.
Board.
So move.
That was a little over 300,000.
Yes, sir.
How much was it?
A little over 300,000.
All right, have a
Second.
motion by Commissioner Nash and a second by Commissioner Ford. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. That carries.
The next item that we have, and this is just kind of extending our time with the water management on the Rum Island agreement. And we just wanted to bring this before you so we could extend that time and basically close out the grant. So we're asking you to approve the amendment number 3 to with Swanee River Water Management District.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Ford, second by Commissioner Murphy. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries.
The next item that we have is Town of Fort White interlocal agreement for traffic signal maintenance. The town had been contracting this out, and now that we have someone that's certified to do this, they would like for us to take this over. Basically, they have a contract with DOT. DOT reimburses them for that signal agreement, and they're just going to give us that money that they were receiving for DOT to take care of this traffic signal for them. And the reason we wanted to put this before you now is because school's about to get started, and there's some adjustments that needed to be done to their school zones, and we want to make sure that we get that done for them. So we're asking to approve this interlocal agreement with the Town of Fort White for traffic signal maintenance.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ford, second by Commissioner Nash. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries. You had playground equipment?
Yes, I think we need to talk about the playground equipment. Been brought to my attention in my district down in Fort White, a major piece of the playground equipment needs to be replaced. And after talking to Mr. Pittman about this, there's probably going to be several pieces of playground equipment that's going to be needing replacement in the next 4 to 5 years. And I can tell you, some of this playground equipment is not a small fee. The piece that I need to replace down in Fort White, it's going to run somewhere between $65,000 and $85,000. So, I think we need to talk about where this money's going to come from, and we need to maybe start budgeting some money somewhere for playground equipment, because as you know, we have several playgrounds around the county now. And this equipment, some of it's getting pretty old. So.
Yep. Why don't we do this? Ben, if you would, won't you get Clint to give us on the playground equipment, cost. The reason I say that because out there at the ball field, where the tunnel where the kids go through, they got plywood on each side of it screwed to it, so you can't crawl through it. So the kids go on the top, and I think there's a liability there for us.
So if there's equipment, and I haven't heard anything about it, I just happen to be out there with a grandchild. And if we're going to talk about what Mr. Ford's talking about, why don't we get up on all the pending things that need to be fixed for safety reasons and see what we got.
Okay, I'll be glad to do that. We, as Commissioner Ford said, we had attempted to put that into the equipment replacement plan a couple of years ago. We never got that far with funding. And in the past, we've used year-end money to make those adjustments. But what I would do, or what I can do, is have Clint pull together a list for us and have him come and show us the things that currently need to be replaced, and then what he thinks can, when these others can hold off and be replaced.
I haven't seen what Mr. Ford's talking about, but I believe out there at the ballpark, it's a safety issue. Now, I don't know what it could be. One of those little tubes or made out of fiberglass and got a hole in it or whatever, but they're definitely not going through it. They're going over it.
What Clint has told me is that, and now some things like that where kids, they might have tore that up, but what he told me is that these playgrounds are typically, they tell you that they're built to last 10 years, and then they're meant to be replaced. And Commissioner Ford can tell you, it's not exactly good quality material that you wouldn't think. You think it would be built of something more sturdy, but over time it just starts to rust and starts to fall apart. And that's the reason that, like I said, about 10 years lifespan. And I think that one that he's talking about, I think it's been there
17 years.
17 years.
I tell you something else. I've been around and looked at several pieces in the county. And I can tell you, when we're looking at playground equipment in the future, it might be worth it to buy something with sort of a shade or a cover over it, because it seems like the ones that have covers over them are aging a lot better than the ones that's just open top. So that might be something we want to look at for the future. I mean, don't get me wrong, 17 years is a pretty good lifespan for a piece of playground equipment, but we've got something that's close to that age with covers over it that still looks pretty good. So,
keeping the rain and the sun
keeping the
off
rain
of
and stuff out of it, yes.
I agree. I think it's a liability. I think we need to know what we're dealing with. So, and I think it should be an equipment replacement issue. I mean, if you're not going to replace it, take it out. I mean, it shouldn't be. It should be like everything else.
Do that the same we do our other equipment replacement. Just inventory all the parts and just come up with a list of it. This year, this need to be replaced. The next year, and then we'll have that to work on and budget for.
From what I can understand, this was scheduled to be replaced 2 years ago, and Clint inspected it and decided we could get a few more years out of it. But in places, I think the rust has broke through where he couldn't tell before it was that bad, because it was under like a rubber coating, and now that rubber coating has broke through where the rust is.
Okay, I'll get Clint to pull it. He has that list already, but he can pull it together for us and come to a presentation for it.
If you would, Ben, maybe have Clint come to, a meeting in the immediate future, and maybe do a little, a little screenshot, I guess you'd say, or whatever, where the public can understand. Because, I mean, with me and little Charlie was sitting out here the other day, we're right down the rain at the election thing, and we were sitting there talking about rust, that we found a couple of steps broke. But I guess what I'm saying, just for the public's input, if you can throw something together, that's reasonable time.
Well, one of the things, Commissioner, you say, you saw rust. One of the things that we found with this playground equipment, most of the time, where you and I would say, well, you know what, you got a rusted piece or a broke board, let's just go replace that individual piece. Most of the time you can't. Either that piece, they don't make it anymore, right, or you've got to replace the whole part of it. And by the time you do that, you can buy the whole piece.
You're exactly right. And that's something we might need to keep in mind in the future. Even Columbia City Park we just done, no doubt steel is going to hold up better than the plastic. Yeah. But I guess my point is that, we just really, and Clint's the only certified person, to my understanding, in the county that's able to inspect this kind of stuff. And it ain't the fact that it's a lot of costing steel and plastic out there. It's the liability that the company's got to provide to manufacture this kind of stuff.
Well, one of the things I was told too, talking to the company over there, I had the catalog, they redesigned this stuff and they discontinue a lot of this stuff. They
Right.
change it every year, so
Right.
they don't carry replacement products for it. So,
That way they can make more
And-
money.
and one of-
Replace the whole thing.
One
Sound
of
like
the
a
thi-
septic tank company.
That's like septic tank company.
That's right.
And one of the things that I hope this board never do again, don't build a playground and put up a covered shelter and don't put a bathroom in it. It's just like open the door, trying to dip the Soda Lake dry with a sister. It just don't work. And I got that in 5 Points that I inherited. It was burned down. We built it back. Nice playground equipment there, but they have to go all the way to S&S if you use the bathroom. And it just, I asked Ben to come up with a price of putting the bathroom out there, and it's been that way forever. There at 5 Point School.
I believe that is the only playground that we do not have a restroom at. I can't think of one that.
When the
No.
time comes, there'll be a restroom there
Hey, come
like
on.
we just put at Columbia City, not Rum Island.
Well, what we, and I've already got the price for him. It's roughly, it's about $76,000 to put a restroom there. That's the kind like you're talking about.
Mhm.
It's prefab. They come in and set it down like the one we just put at the football practice fields.
Mhm.
But the extra cost that we've got there, because it's so wet, what I found out, Commissioner Williams, is we are going to be able to hook it to the city, but we got to put a pumping system in there to pump it to the city sewer system.
Okay, I have a public comment.
But before we get there, Toby, I apologize to the board. I forgot about something, but I was called, and I'm sure Mr. Ford probably got the same calls I got. They have apparently, of course, we had election last week. I'd like to reach out to the Department of Health, Ben, and let's try to enhance the COVID testing thing back at the Fort White Community Center. I realize we got this one up here, but I briefly not put words in Mr. Moffice's mouth, but the funding apparently is already there. And I don't know how often they were even doing it. Do you, Mr. Ford, how often they were doing it in Fort White?
They've only had like 3, I think, down there.
It's 3 specific days, and Ben, you may know better, but, I just had a couple elderly people, just complain. They don't even want to be out of the house, much less, but they do want to keep getting the test, but.
Well, I really think the last one they had down there, they didn't have that many show up.
Well, you can
Yeah.
use
Is that what it
this
was?
CARES Act money for that.
Right.
That's you can use CARES Act funding for that. We got sitting on $12 million. I really think in looking at the CARES Act and doing it in my regular job, I think we're going to get to a point where we're going to be looking for ways to spend this money. So, and you don't have to go with DOH to test. I mean, you could offer it to them first, but you could certainly, under CARES Act funding, set up your own test.
You could easily designate a certain day and,
Exactly.
do the publicize.
Well, they're set up at the dollar store. They're 5 Points.
Yeah.
Every day. I mean, there's a
Yeah,
dollar
they-
store.
they're open
Why?
every
I'd like to
day.
Talk to them about funding something down there for them.
And they get a lot of people go through that testing site there at Dollar General. I don't have anything else to share.
Okay, we have public comment now. Yes, ma'am.
CARES Act and the jail. As you know, I'm very concerned about our safety issues and liability issues at the jail. I was one of the original committee members that went in there. In this new plan, what are you doing in terms of the UV protections at the intake doors or elsewhere in the new building? And what are you doing in terms of PPE out of the CARES Act for long-term safety and health issues at the jail? This is not going to end anytime soon. Our regular flu season starts shortly. And they're now saying we're going to be in this until summer of next year. So I didn't hear you say anything about safety additions in the sheriff's jail plan or PPE. I'd like you to consider doing the same that you would any other facility in the future.
So the CARES Act funding that we have now has multiple facets to it. And you've heard a lot about the small business aid and the individual aid. There is money in that CARES Act plan for the internal county government, including the jail, for PPE and for enhancements to office space, like you're talking about. And I'm sure that they are already meeting with constitutional officers to work some of that out.
Okay, but
So-
the new UV treatment that they're doing at doorways is very effective for just about every airborne disease you can mention, including the hepatitis and others. And I was just wondering if it was being included in your design for the connecting hallways and doors.
Thank you. Anybody else? 2 minutes? All right. Madam Clerk? Commissioner? 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 Staff? All right. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Oh, yes, hang on.
I wanted to thank you and Commissioner Ford for your work on the canvassing board. It was a weird year with COVID, and it went off hit. Mr. Brandon said it was the fastest results that ever come out of that office, and you guys get some credit.
And I want to thank Commissioner Ford and Robert Shepherd for feeding us ribs. So we didn't go hungry while we were canvassing.
No, very nice, very nice.
All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
Yeah.